Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today I'm joined by Mansour from Incremental Digital. You may know Incremental through Liran and some of the work that Mansour's been doing online. So today it's his first time on the show, so I'll let him give himself a bit of an introduction and the background on himself. So Mansour, obviously we've had Liran on dozens of times over the last 1,000 or so episodes. So welcome to the show for the first time. For those who don't know you, do you want to give a little bit of background on yourself?
Thanks, Sandy, for having me on the show. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm very excited to have this conversation. I am an Amazon seller. I sell, my main market is in Canada. I started selling by the end of 2018. And also, as I was in the process of selling on Amazon, I realized I'm good with Amazon PPC. So it was in a networking event. I got to know Liran. I joined Incremental Digital in 2020, and I became the director of Amazon advertising at Incremental Digital. From there, we have been together, and we had a great kind of journey together and growth. Now we are managing over 5 million spent monthly for our clients. We have clients from 6-figure to 8-figure. And that is what I'm doing.
Excellent. So what we're covering today, we're going to be covering your super sheet. Do you want to give a bit of background, and then we can pull up the screen and we can go through the information on this? So
yes, 100%.
Can understand. Okay.
So Supa is abbreviation that I came up with for Search Query Performance Analyzer. And as you can see from the name, it is related to search query performance. Search query performance is a dashboard under brand analytics. And it was really, at least for me, very shocking that Amazon finally released all this information, because there they could see in detail the search volume, the clicks, the impressions, the purchase, the add to carts in query level for brand, for the market. And in terms of ASINs, we could also see the information for ASINs as well. It was really interesting because now we could, do you want me, Danny, to go into the detail of what search query performance is, or we don't need to cover
I think most guys who listen to the show will obviously know what it is. What I think is really important is how you break out the data and what they can, gather their learnings from.
Okay, awesome. Just I'm going to mention a few things about search query performance, because these are really fundamental for understanding the whole dashboard and the data that you have there. One is that the search query performance is a search funnel from customers seeing the product until clicking the product and purchasing the product. If you are sharing, are we sharing the screen now?
Yeah, I've just brought up the screen now. So as you're talking,
Okay, great. So actually, if you see on the left side, we have this funnel shape that it is showing how search query performance actually working. So if you go to search query performance, if you have seen it, we have the impressions, clicks, cart ads, and purchases for brand level, same for the market level.
Yeah.
There are two things that you have to understand here. One is that everything, all these impressions that you see here is from the search result pages, all of them being originated from there. So if there is anything in product detail pages, any impressions, clicks originated from product detail pages, they won't be appear in search query performance. Same as Supa template, because this is directly bringing the data from there. The second is that it is organic results and sponsored product. So sponsored brand video, impressions for them, headline ads, all the impressions that you see there, or any sponsored display impressions that you see on the search result pages, they are not appearing here. The same goes for the widgets that we have. For instance, for editorial recommendations or other widgets that we have on the search result page, none of impressions and clicks or purchases are included in search query performance and Supa template. The last point that is really crucial for you to know is that, let's say a customer sees a product that you are showing with or inorganically or with sponsored product, they click on the product. but they add to cart a variant of your product. Let's say you have different variations, and the customer saw another product, click on the product from search result page, but they added the variation to the add to cart and purchased that. From there, you will see that disconnect, right? You see the impression, you see the clicks, but then cart adds and purchases are not there, because search query performance is from seeing the same product to purchasing the same product. That is why it is really important to understand. People sometimes question search query performance, but in reality, it is right. It's just a matter of understanding how they are measuring it. And it is 24 hours, right? From clicking until purchasing in 24 hours. If it passes that 24 hours windows from click to purchase, you won't see the purchase. You will see the impression, clicks, and add to cart if they added in 24 hours. But if they purchase the next day, you won't see the purchase here.
Yeah.
So that is that. Now we can go into detail of what information we are seeing here. In the first section of the Supa template, we are showing the latest period, what happened, what are your KPIs, as well as your CTR, your add to carts rate, your purchase rate. These are really important KPIs to understand how your product is moving in that funnel, how customers engaging with your product. For instance, here we have the purchase rate of 53%. This purchase rate is purchase divided by cart adds, right? It means our customers that adding the product to the cart, about 50% dropping, 50% of them not purchasing the product. So kind of it gives you an
Which
idea.
would normally call an abandonment rate. Yeah.
Yes.
Cart
so
abandonment. Yeah.
You have to think about what is the reason and how you can increase that purchase rate. Also on the right side, we have the conversion rate, which is purchase divided by clicks. You can see what the CDR is. We have the same numbers as you can see for the market. So you can see your conversion rate of your brand with the market. In this case, it is 7.36 for the brand compared to 9.50% for the market. So you can compare these KPIs to understand what's going on. And finally, the most important part is this brand market share. It shows the impression share. What is your share of the market? 1.84% is the share of the market for this brand. In terms of purchase, it is 2.93%. So something that I always talk about is that before search query performance was released, usually the way brands measure their growth was, what is the trend of my total sales? What is my tacos? What is my ACOS? What's my organic sales? So they are looking at that trend. Are we growing? The trend is up, or are we declining? The trend is down. But in reality, that is totally wrong, because we know that there are fluctuations in the market, and in a daily basis, in a weekly basis. For seasonal product, it is more obvious, but even for normal products, there are search demands going up and down constantly. So you can't necessarily just look at the trend of the sales and see and understand if your brand is growing or not. Actually, a good place for this is the Product Opportunity Explorer. In Product Opportunity Explorer, I don't know if I have this slide here. In Product Opportunity Explorer, you can see the trend of the search term for any niche. So I was actually looking for this ankle brace. There was a time in the market that our sales growth was 20. And we were so happy that, okay, great. Week over week, we grew the sales 20%. We were really happy. Then I looked at Product Opportunity Explorer, and I realized actually the search volume for the market went up 30%. So kind of, it shows me that we are actually behind the market. The market grew 30%, we are growing 20%. Then you are looking at total sales. So there is this disconnect. You don't know what you are comparing to. You have to compare to the market and see what is happening. But with this brand market share, that's it exactly what we are looking for. We are seeing, yes.
So I was going to say, basically, you're only using the market for benchmarking because you've got singularity here and then you've got a group, right? So you've got the brand here in isolation because you look at the click-through rate, 299, pretty good. It's double that of the market, but the market, because it's broad spectrum, is going to pull it down. Yeah. And then you look at the purchase rate, i.e. the opposite, well, the cart abandonment rate, if you want to call it something else, in terms of you're measuring what's been captured, not what's been lost,
right,
is higher as well.
Yes.
Your conversion rate slightly lower. What would you do to bring that up? To look at the market, but then the market can look a bit, it could blur the figures a little bit more because you've got 1.84 brand share, and this might not be the number one brand in the market. Does that make sense? So your conversion rate may not be as high as the aggregated average of the market, but what this information is very good for is to see where your pulse is. You're using this to set the pulse, so you're not miles away from it. But in terms of the market itself and the click-through rate and the purchase rate, it's very good versus the market, regardless that you only have which is still good, 1.84% of the market.
Actually, Danny, this brand is top 5 in the
category. It's top 5, is it? Yeah, I don't know 5. Because obviously it's private data, right? So I'm just kind of throwing it out there and spitballing with you. But I'm saying I'm praising the success of the brand.
Yes.
Because if you look at it,
in terms of the CVR, that was actually a great point. That our CVR is low. Yeah. But the reason I might not pay too much attention to that is
I wouldn't say it's low. I'm just saying on the averages, you beat a load of other stuff.
No, 100%.
But on the conversion rate, you're a couple of points off. Yeah.
Yes. The thing here is that in this market, this niche, there are some brands that they don't have variations.
Yeah.
There are some brands that have variation. In terms of our brand, we have 4 variations.
Yeah.
One reason for seeing lower conversion rate is not because the customer didn't purchase. It is because we were advertising another variant. Customer came to the listing, they purchased the other variant, which doesn't show up here. So that is the reason. Yeah. Otherwise, if you are in a market that there is no variation or less variation, yes, if your conversion rate is really lower than the market, it means you have work to do.
Yeah.
But then here, what we have in this graph is exactly what I was talking about, that you want to measure your market share. Now, what I do for most of the brands that I directly work with is looking at these on a weekly basis. So I can see the bar for search query volume. I can exactly see what is happening in the market. And I have the impression share, click share, cart ad share, purchase share per week. So right away, I can measure what is happening to my brand. If you look at this March 25th, in terms of for the market, you can see that we had a drop in all of the KPIs. And it's interesting because our direct competitor in this week, they had a huge deal, and it caused that our customers kind of, they got more attention because of the good pricing that they had. So if you look at this, you can directly see what is happening to your brand. If your sales, because the ideal situation for us always is for this purchase share, cart, click share to be either consistent or growing. You don't want to go down.
If you
start going down, it means something happening in the market for your product or something with your competitors that you have to take care of.
Yeah.
So that is a part in regards to looking at the market share. Then down here in this table, we have pretty much the same thing that we had in the graph, but in the numbers. So in one view, you can see, for instance, for purchase share, what is happening. And there are these, I don't know what we call it. There are these bars on the side that shows which one is the highest. So right now we are at 2.93 for the latest date, but we were at some point at 3.72, which actually we have declined. We got to see what happened. Is this a competitor or is this us that we have declined in the market share. When I say, is this a competitor, I mean, have they changed something with the offer, with the price? Do they have coupon codes that we don't have? And we got to look at that. Then the next is, so far we were just looking brand as a whole, right? Aggregation of all the queries. Now here we have this pivot table for the query level. So I'll go, for instance, for ankle brace.
Yeah.
For ankle brace, I have different timelines for week over week. We have the score. So for all these weeks that we are seeing here, the score has been won.
What does the score mean?
The score is actually something Amazon gives you in search query performance.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
I didn't. Yeah, I want to be clear for the audience. Yeah.
Yes. So we have the search volume. You can see what's happening. Market purchase. This is the total market purchase, and this is the brand purchase. So you can see how it is going up or down. But again, goes back to the point that I mentioned. Not necessarily these up and down numbers going up or down clears anything. You have to look at the share. Is the share going up or going down? That is how you have to measure your success. And the good thing here is that I can click on ankle brace, and now you can see all these top graphs, everything that you are seeing here for that specific query. If you want to dive deeper to see what is happening.
We're just waiting for it to load at the moment with the data on my side of the screen. But it's got a lot of processing to do, right? There's a lot of data there.
But there you go.
There we go, yeah.
So now this funnel is just specific for ankle brace. You see, this is the most important keyword for this brand. Most of our sales comes from this search term. So we have to every week make sure we are staying there, we are not losing market share. Or if we are losing, it sometimes happens that for some reason we start declining. I'll see if there's anything from PPC side I could do, right? If I can aim for top of search to increase that, I do that. But sometimes I look at the listing and I'm like, oh, seems like the competitor has a coupon code. For the brand owner, I'm like, actually he's a friend of mine. I'm like, you gotta add coupon code here. It seems like we are losing market share. So right away you could identify what's happening and do that. Then we go to the next. Here is the information from brand analytics. So this is ankle brace, and you could see different reporting dates. What are the brands getting highest clicks? These are, you see brand 1, 2, 3. What are the ASINs? And also I'm providing here the click share and conversion share for each of these brands. So you could see who is there, who's getting more market share, and analyze why they are getting more click share or conversion share than you. One thing that also I do this year at the end is I sum up the total click share of the 3 top products and total conversion share of 3 top products. The reason I do this is that there are some queries that if you look at this, this is, for instance, mostly fashion-related products. The total click share of the top 3 products might be 5 or 6%. It is a really low number, less than 10%. What I always recommend to brands and to advertisers is that if you are finding a query that the total conversion share is really low for that query, it means customers browsing more products. They are looking for the design that they like, for the colors that they like. You don't necessarily need to push for top of search, spend money to show up on top of search. You just need to be visible in top half of the page. As long as you're there, customers will see you, because that click share of lower than 10%, I'm not saying the 10% is really the exact number, but if the conversion share is low, click share for top 3 products is low, it means they are looking, they are browsing. Just be there. Don't waste your money to be on top of search. In this case, the top 3 products getting 43%. It means it is important to be on top of the page. Half of the clicks go for the top 3 products. If you want to go be visible, get more share, you have to be on top. If you are not organically there, it means you have to push with a sponsored product for top of search to gain some share and hopefully increase your organic share.
Yep.
And finally, what we have here, actually, let me remove this filter here. In the last section, what I'm showing is all the queries that we have for the brand. And I'm showing the difference of the latest time period compared to previous time period for the market share and the max. I'll give you one example. Here, for instance, it is the purchase share compared to previous period. This means that we lost around, it is in percentage, minus 0.21% market share compared to previous period. And if you compare to the max, we lost around minus 1% compared to max. So in one table right away, if you want to see what are the ones, the queries that you have lost highest compared to previous market share, you can easily, actually, I can't sort with this. Oh, I have to change that. You could sort with this and right away see what are the ones that you're losing or gaining market share compared to previous period or to the max. It shows everything in one view for you instead of all those tables.
Yep.
So that is in brand level. We have the same thing for product level. Exactly same thing for different ASINs. I'm not going to go to ASINs to reveal it, but you can set your ASIN, exact same tables. Now, there are some use cases that I didn't mention. One is that, well, of course, you can find product. You can find new search terms. Search term report is the best, but here also there might be situations that you find new keywords. You can find new product opportunities, product ideas from here for bundle or other stuff. But one thing that mostly we use is that, actually I'm doing this for ankle brace for women. I was doing this test. I do what is an experiment. Let's say I'm pushing for top of search. Then I measure this query. I'm tracking this query to see when I'm pushing with more click share, because now I'm increasing my click share. What is happening to my purchase share? Is my purchase share increasing or not? I don't know when it was. I stopped doing you can see here, we were pushing for the click share. And right here, we decided we don't want to push it anymore. As you can see, the click share went down because we are not in top of search anymore.
Yeah.
And this purchase share is, as you can see, it is declining. But based on the spend that we were having for this keyword and the results that we are seeing, the client decided, let's stop pushing it because our tacos were increased because of just this specific keyword.
So for cost reasons, you opted out of top of search, but you lowered the bid in order to retain ranking of their position.
Exactly. Yeah. So we decided not to do that. But the first important use case is that you can do any experiments with Amazon advertising and right away see the impact in brand, see the impact in term level if you are looking for the term.
Yep.
The second thing is that anything that you be with A/B testing, you do with your title, you do with your images, all the KPIs that you are doing that A/B testing, right away you can come here and see what was the influence of that A/B testing in your market share, how the the click share went up, how the purchase share went up. So right away you can now do this correlation between these two. And my most favorite one is for cannibalization.
Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, we always talk about the brands. Sometimes used to ask me, I don't want to invest on advertising for my branded keyword. what's going to happen if we lower the spend? I'm like, I don't know. We got to test, see what happens, but still we can't necessarily understand what's happening. But with search query performance, now it is easy. Drop the spend, don't show up on top of search for a week or two, and measure here, see for that term. Right now you can see exactly for the branded term that you are looking for, what is happening. Your click share might go down. It doesn't matter, because the click share is directly related to your sponsored product. It is purchase share that is important. Is your purchase share going up or down? If it's going down, it means that ad that you had there was actually impactful. If not, not. And same goes for unbranded. If you are organically ranking on top 4, do you need to push for top of search with sponsored products or not? Now you can measure it. Just either pause the ad for that keyword, or no, just lower the bid so you don't show up on top of the search. See what happens over a week or two. Measure with organic ranking, plus measure your market share and understand what's happening. From there, you can come up with a decision. One side note is that not always the organic ranking shows you what is going on, because we have had a situation that this brand is doing so good that the changes that is happening, even the sales going down, the organic rank is not changing much, because there is a kind of distance between this brand and next brand or the brand before them. So you might not notice that organic drop or improve right away, but with market share, you can easily see, even you might see your organic ranking is not changing, but your market share going up or it is going down. So it's a better KPI to measure.
And also when you're looking at ranking, I mean, it depends on who you are. I'll use my words carefully, because a lot of people will shit on this, but do you know much about geo ranking?
Yes.
Yeah. So you understand that unless you're doing geo ranking, which is very, very expensive to do in processing, hence why our great software companies in the space can't provide it, because there's too much power is needed to do it. You also got to look at that the rankings that you do get in the software tools is aggregated information. So you might not see any movement, but you might have had increased ranking on the zip code level in New York, if that's where all your sales come from, Washington, DC, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes you're not going to be able to add the luxury of those movements. But equally, unless you're doing some, 1.52 million, venturing into geo ranking is going to be very difficult in terms of cost, right? In terms of cost benefit analysis and getting that information that you need to fill the gap. So going back to your point, sometimes you might not see the needle move on the surface because it's aggregated against over 500 postcodes. Do you see what I mean? So if you think you're in number 7 that hasn't moved, you might be 7 here, 6 here, 15 there, 22 here, number 4 here, number 7 here. And what really matters is how closely located is your stock to that city in terms of that postcode, where you can do most of the damage in your optimization.
That's a great point. That's actually a great point. That is why, as you mentioned, the organic might not be indication of what is happening, but when you're looking at the market share, this is what you're looking for, right? You want to increase your market share. And the other point is that just keep that in mind. There are some other factors are not here, right? Your
of course.
Video, your sponsor display, your headline ads, the product detail page sales are not here. That idea of the variation that the customer purchased the variation, but it is a good directional kind of.
Well, this is it. It's like you've got eyeballs on a load of metrics here. This is why this sheet is useful, right? But like anything, even down to Amazon's own APIs, they fall apart, right? And they're not always reliable, and they're patched together, and data catches up, and coders have nightmares for updates and stuff like that. And quite interestingly, the way that they're built, I mean, on my team, they will tell you that, it's great having APIs, but Amazon don't they do great stuff, but they're terrible at building efficient APIs. And you probably experience this with your team as well. But we do what we do, right? It's better to have some of this information that you can correlate to get better results than flying blind. So what we end up doing is we try and eke out every decent piece of information and say, how is it actionable? Can it be usable? And what can we draw from our conclusions to improve conversion rate, market share, etc.?
100%. And actually, the other thing that I see right away, there's a new report or something that Amazon releases and we don't know yet what it is. People come up with the idea of, oh, these information are wrong. This is not aligning with that report. Before making that judgment, Amazon actually is good with sometimes giving you where this data comes. Go to the help, read where the data comes from. Instead of having that judgment of this information is not wrong. No, Amazon just provides you the data with different ways. That is an issue as well. In every dashboard, they give you different report, different data, and you are trying to compare something that is not aligning with the other report together. You get confused that this data is not correct.
Well, I think also where they're under pressure to release more tools and more data back into their own community, as they're under that pressure, they're not going to make it super easy for you to match and align it all, are they? Let's be real. Yeah. Their focus is the customer. We're vendors. We're not their customer. Because that's where I think people get messed up, you know, in that sense, because of the way we have to deal with Seller Central and everything else. The customer is the customers. We are vendors, even though we drive, or our sellers in the community and our clients drive 54% of the sales, if not more, on Amazon through third party. So I don't think that it's not at top of mind for them, because they had the opinion, we don't necessarily need you, because there's always going to be another person who's going to sell products like you, want to come onto this platform and make good money as we're the biggest marketplace. Yeah. So that's what our job is, isn't it? It's to elongate all this information together.
Yes.
To get the best results from it.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes, for instance, to this report, one thing that you got to understand, there are so many numbers here. But you have to have a good understanding what you're looking at, right?
Exactly.
For instance, if you are putting your product on top of search, well, your click share is going to go up, but it doesn't necessarily mean if your click share went up, if you see that graph is going up, it means you are doing a good job. You have to see that click share, what happened to the purchase share. Or I see sometimes that people are doing tests. They reduce the spend for a sponsored product for top of search, and they look at click share and they say, oh, click share went down. Well, of course it's going to go down. If you are doing that test for cannibalization, it's obvious your click share will go down because you don't have a sponsored product. Now you have to understand where you are looking at. Now you have to look at purchase share. There are so many variables here. You have to be on top of it and understand what to look at. The other use case that I didn't mention, just quickly add a note on that, is that you can look at the search queries. Highly related search queries that have either low impression or low clicks or low purchase rate. It could be each of these KPIs. Go ahead, and there is something to do about any of them. If you have a highly related low impression, really low impression, it means that probably you're either you are not showing up organically on this page, or you are not showing up with sponsored product on the page. It means you have to increase your visibility. It could be with adding that product on the title. It could be with bringing advertising more, spending more, having that product advertised. If your click share is low and that keyword is important, then you have to understand, are you able, with increasing your advertising for that keyword, to not just increase the click share? Can you increase the purchase share as a result of click share or not? So when you do this, if it goes up, don't judge based on that. See what is happening for purchase share. So you can dive deeper into each keyword and find the opportunity in the keywords and increasing your market share for every keyword.
Cool. And how does Amazon sellers get their hands on the sheet? Obviously, they've sat through and watched this, and it'd be very useful for a lot of those guys for their business. But how would they be able to get hold of it? I can obviously put it in the show notes as well, a link. So it's just
I'll provide you a link. So if they go to your show notes, they click there and they will get they can see a walkthrough video plus get access to the template. And walkthrough video, please watch it because you need to understand how to create it. It's not simple because you have to download the manual. It is simple, but just pay attention to every step to make sure you're not missing any step.
That's great. And what's the best way that people can reach you?
Best way would be LinkedIn and Facebook, but I post most often on LinkedIn every day. Almost I post something about Amazon advertising, so you can follow me there.
Excellent. Guys, thank you for your time and attention. Mansour, thank you for running through everything there. We look forward to getting you back on the show latter part of the year. Next up will be Sharon. I'll be back here next week. Take care of yourself and your family.
Thank you.
Much love. And I'll see you again soon.
See ya.